Good morning, Power Crew. How's everyone doing? Welcome to the Power Network. I'm so the case is a psyop operation and to divert us from the Epstein files and cement ICE as a necessity for the American public. Will she be found conveniently over the border? We'll be looking at Chase Hughes' video on how to recognize a psyop operation, as well as the clues in the Nancy and Savannah Guthrie case. We're breaking down the timeline and asking whether this is a coincidence or a coordination. I'm rolling the intro while the algorithm brings in the rest of the Power Crew. Shout out to my Power Replay crew. Love you, babies.
Carefully strumming his old guitar again. Words rolling out into our fire. If heaven had wings, I would steal them and fly away with you for a while. Hearing the essence of gratitude, your dreamy little smile on my lips. I miss my cue, but baby, I had you. Miss my cue, but I had you for that day.
Here in the blue and the essence of gratitude. It's so good to be back here with my Power Crew this morning. I have to say, I've been way far off. These Epstein files have me feeling some kind of way. Like everything feels pale in comparison, and, I hear this or that and I think, well, they're eating babies. Nancy Guthrie's missing. Well, they're torturing babies and scaring them so that their adrenaline goes into their blood and then they're draining them and they're eating babies. That's happening too. That's just like playing on a loop in my brain. And so then I started isolating because, I had my back issues and stuff. And then, with all of this, I just started isolating and I realized I got to stop because I've got this ringing in my head. Like my ears are just ringing. I've got so much I need to say. And in the past, I was so afraid to say it because I've been saying this stuff like for a long time, the conspiracy stuff. And I've been saying it for a long time. And at first I had this moment of told you so. And then it dawned on me. Told you so. They're actually doing this. So I'm all over the place. But I want to talk about the Nancy Guthrie case, but I don't want to talk about it like everybody else is talking about it. I've got my tinfoil hat on and I don't care anymore. I've always been a woo-woo girl and the world has turned woo-woo. So I think it's very convenient that all of a sudden in the middle of the Epstein files dropping where they're eating French toast babies, they're eating babies. I'm trying not to say the F word. And ICE just unalived another 51-year-old man this weekend. Like they're closing off our borders. We got a lot going on, guys, and I cannot believe, I will not believe that the Nancy Guthrie case just conveniently popped up out of nowhere, like a kidnapping out of nowhere. I did look to see how many kidnappings. I don't have it up. Sorry. I got to calm down too. Give me a moment. How many kidnappings happen a year? Let me get my screen together. Sorry, I just went right into this. So, guys, welcome. I'm so happy to see you. Let me take a step back. I just went right into this. Let me say hi to you guys and gather myself. And yeah, we'll get into it. Hi, Kim. Thank you for coming and hanging out and being the best mod. Yeah, I would love to get to 10K. I think we're like 50 away, or maybe 40 away. So yeah, that would be great to hit 10K. What will I do with 10K subscribers? I don't even know. I don't even know if I deserve it. Okay, I want to give some positive news. Oh, okay. I found out I'm going to be a first time grandma. We're very excited. Thanks for letting you share. Well, Ginny, congratulations. You're bringing a baby into the world. I mean, a baby that needs to be loved and protected. And just yeah, congratulations. Just love on that baby and that mama and the dad, and just yeah, congratulations. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Okay, so let's do the algorithm dance party and just start warming up our fingers and dance. I've been away, so like my numbers have dropped this month, but I just can't. I cannot. I had to take some time and just get myself together and like figure out, like, I still don't know my course of action yet, but I just know I have to start using my voice in some way because um we can't go back to sleep. Like, we can't. I cannot live in a world where they're eating babies. I can't. I won't. I'll go out, whatever. I'm going to fight for the babies because, and when I say babies, I mean all the young ones. I don't mean just like the infants. For me, babies are like from infant to, I don't know, like 15, 16, 17. I know 18 is the cutoff, but you know what I mean? I mean the, the youth, this is not like, okay. Anyway. Hi, Amy. I still have to get out that email this morning. Like I said, I'm feeling some kind of way. I'm feeling some kind of way about all this. And I'm not going to stop beating the drum because we've got to do a war cry. This cannot go on. So anyway, and I think the Nancy Guthrie case is a psyop to keep us diverted from what is really happening. And I've said in the very beginning that if this goes over the border into Mexico, and this morning I woke up to Ashley Banfield talking about it going over into the border in Mexico. So we're going to just take a look. I will say that I am way behind on the Nancy Guthrie case. I just can't seem to focus on it too heavily because of what's happening in the world. I've been actually going through the Epstein files. So, and oddly enough, the Nancy Guthrie case is in the Savannah Guthrie is in the Epstein files. So here we have how many kidnappings a year. In the United States, around 100 to 350 children are kidnapped by strangers annually. So, like, when I ask this, it goes directly to children. I need to type in adult. In the U.S., over 500,000 missing person cases are reported annually, with thousands involving adults and potentially, see, it's still not giving me the adults. For instance, in 2022, there were over 11,000 recorded individually missing persons cases, but it's not giving me kidnappings. How many years when was the last kidnapping case? When was the last good kidnapping case? Let me think. And I know it had to have been a child kidnapping, right? And then the last few kidnapping cases have turned out to be not kidnapping cases. That one woman that said that the Hispanic ladies kidnapped her, and what was her name? I can't even remember. I shouldn't be doing this alone probably because I'm so out of my mind right now, and whew, I can't even. I have transitioned off of all of my mental health medications and my anxiety medications, and the stuff the herbal stuff isn't even herbaling. It's not even controlling the anxiety that I am feeling, and I feel like I'm in that. You know how you go in those stages of grief? I'm in the rage stage. I'm definitely in the rage stage of grief. At first I was shocked and sad and aha, and then I'm definitely cycling into the rage stage right now. Oh, see, and that's another thing. We're seeing in all these other countries, people are getting arrested, but our country, it's happening in every country, but I would have to say that our country is just crawling with it, right? It's just crawling with it. I put this up over on my Facebook page, and Norway is now the first country to arrest an Epstein associate, ex-prime minister. I'm not even going to try to say it, but it's THORBJORNGAGLAND. So, and I saw the United Nations is starting to get in on it. So, I do think things are going to start happening, but I think we just need to start waking up. I think it's time to start boycotting these companies that the CEOs were doing this. I know Victoria's Secret, Virgin Airlines, just off of Target. There's just all these companies those are just the ones off the top of my head that and I think they're calling for a boycott. They're going to set a date in March where we could do this. We could do this. Wasn't it Nepal brought down their government in 48 hours? If we just stopped buying, if we just stopped going to work, if we just stopped consuming, and we said, get those mofos out of it's left and right. It's not, this for me, I left and right a long time ago, probably 2 years ago. But because I saw they were both corrupt in my whole life, I've always voted left, and I didn't, no, it's both. It is both. So I say burn the swamp. Remember how they said drain the swamp? I say burn the motherfucking swamp. So anyway, but let's get back to the Savannah Guthrie. And this is going to be a lot of swearing, guys, because I'm outraged. When I'm outraged, I just it's a lot of swearing. And I will try to control it, but I am outraged. I'm outraged. You know that song, The Burning Rage? It just is playing on repeat. In fact, today I just made a war song playlist. So, and I got about 50 songs on there. So anyway. All right. So Savannah Guthrie, we woke up this morning to Banfield talking about it. But I think this guy is really funny because this is kind of how the Savannah Guthrie case has been going for most people.
Savannah Guthrie's mother? Who steals somebody's mother? There's a ransom. They really kidnapped somebody's grandma. Oh, snap. They brought in the FBI guy. Shit's getting real. Where is Nancy? Today's the deadline. They have to find her by today. It was the sister. It had to be the sister. Look at her eyes. And Tommaso? Who spells Tomas with an extra O? Think about it. Okay, where is Nancy? She is not in the septic tank. And why is the sheriff at a basketball game? Why is Savannah not up in the cash money? Damn it, I'm gonna go find this damn lady myself. Who is the man on the porch? I'm telling you, those are man eyes. Those are not lady eyes. It has to be. It's the son-in-law. It has to be. They just found a glove in her yard this whole time. Did they find her yet? No? Okay.
Yeah. So there's just so much going on, and it's so easy for us to get completely diverted by this case. And this was the first indication to me that I thought something was off.
Nancy Guthrie case was weird to begin with. Wait till you hear this. And I'm not talking about her husband potentially or being in the Epstein files. This is something totally different. This is about the press conference yesterday. Did you guys see the press conference that was held where Savannah was sitting there? I think it was with her siblings and reading a letter to, I guess it was the people that sent the ransom note. That's what I'm talking about. And before anybody gets bent out of shape, I'm not accusing anybody. I'm just merely pointing something out, okay? And this comes from a friend who has a photographic memory and was watching this press conference yesterday and literally got chills when Savannah said this line, because when she heard it, she was like, oh my gosh, that exact line was said in a movie and in the same tone and everything. So I went and I found the movie clip, and I have the clip of the press conference yesterday. I'm going to show it to you in just a second. And what I found odd, other than that, is after the line is said, the way that Savannah just pauses and kind of looks at the camera. So here, take a look at the video.
She is full of kindness and knowledge. Talk to her and you'll see.
Catherine is very gentle and kind. Talk to her and you'll see.
Talk to her and you'll see.
Okay, once you see it, you can't unsee it. It's weird.
I can't unsee it. It's really weird. And we're seeing time and time again, over and over, that Hollywood, they're making movies right in front of us, you guys. And I think part of their dark deeds is that they have to do these rituals, these humiliation rituals, where they do it right in front of us. And that's a way, it's a form of humiliation, but it's also a form where they gain power. And they keep doing these movies where they have to tell us what they're doing, but they're doing it in the guise of entertainment. And I've always said, I do Highly Strange Days on Sundays, and I've always said to Shannon that I think they're telling us shit in movies. Like, you can look to the movies, because look what's happening now with the UFOs and aliens. They've been telling us this stuff with, the Project Blue Book and all of these, even what's that that really popular strange it's on the tip of my tongue, and I watched it too. I've got it's the kids movie about the Demogorgon and the Upside Down. That movie is supposed to be directly from something that happened in our government. So they're telling us shit through the media. So whatever they've done to Nancy, they have to do whatever they're doing to us, or it's a psyop. And we're going to take a look at Chase Hughes. He is from the behavioral panel, and he's going to take us through ways that we can Stranger Things. Gosh darn it. Also, with my back doing its thing, I'm going through I have a number of autoimmunes, and one of my autoimmune tics is I lose words. So thank you guys. And also, I lose words when I'm upset. And I'm upset. So I just really feel like they have to do this. And I'm not trying to scare anybody, because I want everyone to remain as calm as they possibly can in a state of rage, because I do want people to be rage-filled. I want people to be angry. I want people to be so angry they want to do something. right? But also, I don't want people running out. And somebody said I did a video yesterday, and I was like, remember what John Wick was willing to do for his dog? Right? Why aren't we willing to do this for our children? And someone comes on and goes, I guess you don't know about Reeves and his girlfriend and the baby. Like, so just because something tragic happened to a man that has always shown goodness, right? Like, I think his girlfriend died and the baby died too. They're saying that he gave his girlfriend and the baby away. Like, tragic things do happen in this world that are not conspiracies, right? So we also need to try to keep touching grass, which I know it's hard to do. So, but Christina Randall also thought that there's this strangeness going on in the Nancy Guthrie case. Guys, everything that we view today, I will put in the YouTube show notes. I do it to cite our sources and for fair use. Today, we're coming to you on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. So be sure to give me love on the platform you're viewing me on. Thanks, guys.
Members did not have the codes to get into her cameras and and it got me to thinking, because you guys, she lives in a huge house. I'm gonna pop a picture up here of the house to remind y'all, this is one person, an 84-year-old woman living in this big old giant house. And if any of y'all researched or know about the John Benet Ramsey case, ever since that case,
the John Benet Ramsey case is coming out in the Epstein files. The Maxwell lady knew the family. I mean, I think we're going to maybe solve a lot of missing children's cases too, if we can ever get our shit together. Like, if we can ever beat the drums and do some actual damage to these mofos, I think we might be able to solve a few cases too. And also, I just saw Obama was on some minor podcast and was like, "Yep, aliens are real." So, I mean, there's also the conspiracy theory that they have been giving the children and, the National Missing and Murdered Indigenous Women group that I work with. And maybe they're giving those babies to, like, the aliens. Like, that sounds so crazy, but aliens are here. Is it that crazy that we have all these missing people on Earth? Where are they going? Anyway, I keep going off into, okay, pull it back into Guthrie. Sorry, but it's all connected. I just feel like it's all connected.
into my mind of, like, when people live in really big homes, something can happen on the other side of the home and you can't even hear them coming in. So I'm like, why is this woman living in this house this big? Come to find out, according to Google, she's been living in this house for over 50 years, you guys. Allegedly, according to Google, she bought this house back in 1970.
So here she's just pointing out that people thought it was really strange that she hadn't paid for the cloud storage of the video, but she had been living there for over 50 years. So, I mean, she probably became a little complacent and was just like ready. I get it. Yeah. She probably lived there for so long and just felt safe. I mean, she might not have even locked all her doors. Who knows? Right. So I get that point, and I do agree that probably made it much more easy for people to break in. And to me, it tells me that maybe somebody she knew, because they would have known that she didn't have video. Although we did come up with some video of that guy with the foliage, which was so ridiculous in itself. A guy comes to kidnap somebody and pulls some sticks and bramble, some plants to cover gain traction on the camera. I mean, that's weird. And also, I think there were two different people that we saw, because at one point we see him with a gun around his waist, and then at another point it looks like a totally different person, no gun. I don't know. Anyway, here she's pointing out the strangeness of the Silence of the Lambs. And so then I want to move over here. We'll save what's so then, no, I'm going to come to here. I'm just going to do it as I have it in order. So the Ashley Banfield, I woke up to this, and it says, Nancy Guthrie mystery, kidnapped to Mexico? The truth about eerie Google searches. And I said this from the beginning, you guys, if she shows up in Mexico and ICE is starting to go towards our borders states, and you're in the library system, they did something where you can't get a passport. People were like, oh, you better get a passport now. And I think you better get a passport now. But it was just like in 14% of the library branches now you can't get a passport, but there's other branches you can go, but they're starting to do that. So if you don't have a passport, get a passport. But here we have Ashley Banfield talking about Mexico. I just was praying that this wasn't the direction we're going in, but I fear it is.
I'm Ashley Banfield, and this is Drop Dead Serious. And we are at day 18 in the Nancy Guthrie investigation. And lest you think, oh, it's slowing down, it isn't. Just a ton of stuff happened today. Some things that happened that seemed really big turned out not to be big. So I'm going to clear up what you may have heard earlier and give you the real straight dope on it. But also some stuff was revealed today that was interesting. Maybe goes back 3 weeks and clears up some early things that happened in this investigation. For starters, the big news is that now the federal authorities are indeed considering that this might be south of the border. There may be an issue south of the border.
I knew
that
it.
They need to talk to the authorities in Mexico. But that is absolutely not what the sheriff said.
And, Trump jumped in on this so fast. Too fast. It was too fast.
Earlier. We got a couple of examples right up to yesterday and February 5th, I think it is, where the sheriff said, no, we're not looking south of the border. I'll explain all that in a minute. Also, about the cameras. Do you remember how
Ashley, you're toying with my emotions here, friend.
Reported on the 3rd of February that their Nest cameras, that they were smashed and that there are multiple. Well, as it turns out, there are multiple. We learned that yesterday. And now we're learning from Brian Enton that some of those cameras actually were left behind and are actually with Google. So not everything was destroyed. Not everything was taken by the perpetrator. So that's interesting. Also, the BBC got some really interesting reporting. They did an interview with the sheriff, and the sheriff basically said that early on, the family was put through the ringer by the sheriff's deputies. So my early reporting says that they had their laser focus on the brother-in-law. And as it turns out, wait until you hear how the sheriff actually characterized the kind of investigation they were doing of the family early on. Now, he has clearly changed his tune, but that doesn't mean that early on they weren't laser focused. And we've already gone over.
Didn't I hear today that the family is supposedly cleared, or yesterday?
For all the reasons why, right? They towed Annie's car. They were taking pictures in the house late at night. They were in and out of the house multiple times, searching around the home, searching the neighbors, taking the mail. A lot of things happened. And now the sheriff is actually intimating that, yeah, they did. They put them through.
Well, and why shouldn't they? Why wouldn't they? I don't think that's so tragic. Is she saying it's tragic? Or is he trying to get a gold star for doing his job? I mean, every other department does it. Who cares if they're so quote unquote famous or not? They need to be put through the paces to find out where Nancy is.
The ringer. That was his word. So I'll show you that. I'm going to play you that interview. Also, have you been wondering who the people were in the 40 photographs? The 40 photographs and 40 names that were taken around. Brian Enton had this reporting out to the various gun shops around the Tucson area to show the people who work there pictures and names. Can you run this through your system? Have you seen this guy? The sheriff said to Jonathan Hunt of Fox News, that's a lie. That didn't happen. Well, it did happen because multiple gun shops actually were interviewed and said it did happen, that the feds were there and showed them the names. Well, now we know who the names were and how they got to the names. At least we have reporting on that. I'm going to tell you all of that coming up in this episode. Please hit subscribe if you haven't already. It does me a huge solid as an independent journalist now. Enforcement sources that confirmed that they are in fact looking south of the border now, engaging with the Mexican authorities in an effort to find Nancy Guthrie. Find her, find who took her. Yeah, good idea. Great idea.
Well,
Nancy Guthrie's home is only an
I'm actually a bit shocked that they're just now going to the border because I know she lives really close to the border.
hour and a half.
Oh, an hour and a half. And they're just deciding like, oh, maybe we should go across the border. Oh God. It is very Keystone Copish, this investigation too.
From the border. Okay. We can put the map up. News Nation had this great map and it showed that she's just one straight shot down an interstate, hour and a half. 75 miles. Connell McShane had an expert on his show. I'm going to go into some of the other stuff that this guy said. He was really smart, but he said 75 miles.
75 miles isn't even an hour and a half. Like with the way I mean, I'm from Michigan. We got lead feet in Michigan. So it's not even an hour and a half. Well, I mean, depending on traffic. How about that?
And they put up this map. Look how close that is. Why would this not have been in consideration early on? Because the sheriff in this case has said multiple times, including on February 5th. Let's run that soundbite. When he was asked in a news conference, one of the last news conferences we had weeks ago, are they considering the possibility that they might be, that Nancy might be in Mexico, are they engaging with the Mexican authorities? So let's run that.
This being a border state, have you guys had any communication with Mexican authorities?
I have not. I work closely with the Mexican consulate, as other consulates, being the sheriff, but no, I've not.
Okay, so February 5th, the sheriff is saying, no, that's not something that they're doing. So Fox News Channel, Michael Ruiz reports this, tweeted this out. A federal law enforcement official confirms the FBI has contacted Mexican authorities in connection with the Nancy Guthrie case. In fact, that's what Libby Dean, TMZ, and Michael Ruiz at Fox News Channel all reporting, that their sources are saying that the Mexican authorities have in fact been contacted by federal law enforcement. And all of this comes just after the sheriff in the case says that the investigation hasn't developed any firm evidence that she's been taken across the border. Even yesterday in Jonathan Hunt's interview, Jonathan Hunt is a Fox News reporter who's on location in Tucson, who interviewed the sheriff.
Okay. All right. Okay. Pisces Rising says, Aries Rising says the backpedaling sheriff this past Tuesday in a press release reworded the family has been cleared to the family has not been identified as suspects. I mean, gaslighting, just gaslighting. Just gaslighting. And I hate that word because it's so overused, but it's done. It's just been done to us. It's just like, we're just lit. We're lit to the gills.
And in the interview, police haven't seen evidence that Nancy Guthrie's abductors took her south of the border. Sheriff Nanos tells Fox News' Jonathan Hunt, quote, "We have nothing to indicate that." This is just yesterday. Just yesterday, the sheriff says we have nothing to indicate that. However, everybody's sources, including Fox News, News Nation, TMZ, and I'm sure I'm missing a bunch of them, all have it on authority that their federal sources say they are engaging with the federal authorities. Matt Finn, Fox News. The guidance I got on the FBI talking with Mexico in relation to Nancy Guthrie is that it is standard for the FBI to communicate with Mexico on cases like this, and that the FBI has likely been in touch with Mexican counterparts for
They also knew. Kim says the entire sheriff's department is rookies. The most senior officer this department has, oh my gosh, 3. But isn't the feds in on it? So, like, aren't they, when the feds come in, don't they usually run it? So they're just basically doing what the feds are telling them to do at this point. I mean, am I wrong? I don't know. That's what I understood. 100 out of the 195 deputies are still on probation. And why are they so new? Why is it what happened? What happened that they have all these new people? Did they like clean house or something? Or is it just because it's Arizona? Because I've heard Arizona is a real, yeah. I heard the educational system is really iffy. And yeah, the sheriff moves more like a shady politician than a high-ranking officer. He is out of his league. The crucial amateur mistakes are unforgivable. Oh, he won't? I thought they did take over, though. Good morning. I bet they did take over, and like, if this is what I think it is, and I'm just going to say what I think it is, and this is all my opinion, allegedly for entertainment purposes only. I think it's a psyop, and I think they're trying to divert our attention, and I think the government, I think old Donnie is, or whoever is running this, and they're telling them to do this because it's just like, it's straight out of a soap opera, Hollywood, whatever, right down to the fact that they're stealing lines from Silence of the Lambs. So it's just, that's what I think it is. And I mean, and in the meanwhile, do I think Savannah Guthrie is in on it? No, probably not. I don't know. I probably hope not. And do I think Nancy is alive? I don't think so. I really don't think so. But I mean, this is a case where they've taken us on so many roller coaster loops that, yeah, Nancy Guthrie may walk out of Mexico, right? And Don will be the savior. Woohoo! What would we do without him? He saved Nancy. I swear, if that's what we get, I'm punching walls. I'm punching walls. I already have a bat and I go outside and I pound the cement with it. That's what I used to do when I was getting over the DV stuff that I went through. The rage just built in me, and that rage is, wait, this is a different kind of rage. This is a rage, like a primal rage. Like, I was never allowed to have or able to have children. But I wanted children, and I have like a mother drive, like a mofo, right? I'll take care of, like, I take care of animals like they're children, like I have a motherly instinct, and the rage in me, and I don't even have a child. Like, I can't even, and then I was starting to think of the mothers that the children, yeah, anyway, let's not go back to the kids because it's just so much for me to think about. I'm processing it. But anyway, good morning, Ruth Ann. Sorry. I really am sane. I'm just really angry right now. Brian Entenance did a great interview the other day with someone that used to work for the sheriff. I agree. I love seeing that interview. It felt so genuine. Okay, well, if we have time, I will look for it.
A while, if not from the start of the FBI's involvement in this case. That would be Monday, Feb 2, right? Mrs. Guthrie is reported missing on Sunday, Feb 1. The FBI showed up on Monday, Feb 2. So if it would be standard that the FBI would be doing this, the federal authorities would be doing this, are they just not talking to the sheriff? The sheriff has said since Feb 5 in a news conference, and just yesterday to Jonathan Hunt, we have nothing to indicate that. Okay. Connell McShane today on News Nation on his show, again, has this great graphic showing how close, Nancy Guthrie's home is to the border. And then he had a really good guest named Chip Massey. He's a retired FBI hostage negotiator who had a lot of wisdom about the way this works when it comes to dealing with the federal authorities. He said, the FBI has a legal attaché in Mexico. We work with them all the time. Right? Has a very strong relationship with authorities in Mexico City, local and federal authorities in Mexico. He also says this does not look like a cartel thing to me. This is Chip Massey, right? Well, he says they don't want this kind of attention.
I wouldn't say this is a cartel thing by the way they grab the sticks and plants to cover up the cameras. It's ridiculous.
This is a low dollar value for them. And to authenticate ransom seekers, ransom demands, he said the FBI looks for consistency and patterns, but that there's not a lot of that.
Is that why it took so long? Have they gotten the DNA back yet? I think the FBI has some authority, but he was able to send the DNA to his own lab in Florida over the FBI lab, wasting days because the FBI had to reanalyze the sample anyway. Or was it planned like that? Is it a planned way to keep things stretched out while all of this is happening? Because, yeah, or is it just Keystone Cops are I don't know. Is it planned? It just seems really strange that, to me, the FBI always has precedence when they come in, and Donald Trump is the type of person that he's not going to, if he's coming in to help, he's going to take over. He's not going to let this bumbling police officer. I better be careful. I feel like I'm speaking too much truth here. He's not going to let the police take over like that, but I don't know. I'm really doubtful and mistrusting right now. So it could be that too for me.
Ransom demands, the alleged ransom demands that have been coming, fast and furious in this case.
I also, this is another reason why I haven't been live, is my filter doesn't really work very well when I'm mad. I'm terrified of what I might say. Is anyone else like that? Like, on a good day, my filter is really just spotty at best. And now I don't even know if it's filtering.
And specifically the one that TMZ got today, which I will get to in a moment, also does not fit this pattern. And yes, TMZ got what I think this is about 5 or 6 now, overtures from people who want money. Brian Enton also has a source on the ground that tells him this does not look like a cartel job. All of this coming on the same day that everybody's getting reporting that the feds are engaging with Mexico and the Mexican authorities. Okay, to that end, the sheriff gave an interview to the BBC. Again, gave a lot of interviews, all 10 minutes apiece, but the BBC got something really interesting, a couple of really interesting pieces from the sheriff. Number one is that the sheriff believes, in his words, that Nancy is local. I think she's somewhere here in our community. Locally, the reporter says, yeah, why? I just do. I don't know why. I don't have the evidence for that. I just do. That's what the sheriff said. And then he went on to say something very interesting to the BBC reporter. When the reporter said, well, how did you rule out the family? What was it that you went through to rule out the family? And the way the sheriff answered him was very insightful as to what was going on early on in the investigation. Remember, my reports said that early on, very trusted source said they had zeroed in. That department, the sheriff's department, had zeroed in on the brother-in-law as someone they said could be the prime suspect now, maybe the prime suspect now. Well, the way that the sheriff answered this reporter with the BBC suggests that they may very well have thought that. Listen to how the sheriff answered the question.
You basically cleared, as it were, Savannah Guthrie and her siblings from suspicion. What led to that? Was it the fact that you had investigated them and then found them to be innocent, or was it as a result of the sort of pressure that we've seen from the media?
All cases have a progression, right? A starting point. And typically in something like this, you're going to start with who or what? The scene and who last saw her. And that was family. But you naturally go through that. There's a delicacy there that you've got to understand that you're dealing with some victims here as well. That's her mom, right? That's their mom. So we really put them through the ringer. We not just interview them. We take their cars, we take their houses, we take their phones, all this stuff. And we're not taking it. They're giving it to us voluntarily. They have been 100% cooperative with us through everything we've asked. They are victims. They are not suspects.
And was this a targeted kidnapping?
Oh. To me, it sounds more like he didn't put them through the ringer, but he's trying to make us think that they went through the ringer. Because that's weird. Why would you? It just seems like he doth protest too much to me. Wait until you're 65 years old, no filter. That's another thing. Something about age. It's killing the filter. It's making it thinner. It's funny that you said that. Yeah. I always said that I couldn't wait until I was a woman with, if my hair turned white, I would make it purple. And I kind of do that now, but because I have to, because it'll turn yellow if you don't put purple in it. I had no idea that those ladies had to put purple in their hair. But I always said I wanted to be one of those ladies, and here I am.
I believe that.
I always envisioned a bouffant, though, and I'm not doing the bouffant.
But the evidence and the case as it unfolds will prove that or prove something else. But yes, I believe it was.
And how long do you think it would take to catch this man or
I've
men?
been doing this for 50 years. I could sit here and tell you, boy, we'll never solve this case. And then the next day we solve it. Here's one that I go, man, I wish we could solve it in the next 10 minutes. It may be the next 10 days, the next 10 months, or worse.
Where do you think Nancy Guthrie is?
I think she's somewhere here in our community.
Locally?
Yeah.
What makes you think that?
I just do. I don't know why. I don't have any evidence to prove that, but I just believe that she's somewhere here locally.
Look, everybody has the right in an investigation to change their minds and to follow the evidence where it leads. And they should. I have said it since the beginning. I have screamed it since the beginning. That was the reporting early on. It wasn't some theory that I floated. I saw USA Today wrote that the other day, that I floated a theory. No, this is a trusted law enforcement source who said that was the focus. It does beg the question, were they tunnel vision? Were they only looking there? And did that cost us valuable time in this investigation looking elsewhere? Because all of a sudden, a week plus later, this guy shows up on a ring cam that the feds were able to extract from.
If the feds were working with them, it seems like they should have been looking at multiple sources, not just... Oops. What happened, Junie? What happened, Big Bird? Did something go by the window? Oh my goodness, that was a lot. Are you okay? Are you okay? Don't fly like that. That's scary, baby. Yeah, what you do, baby? Criminal justice major here. The FBI can be called in to assist in investigations and not necessarily complete takeover. The same thing happened with the Delphi, by the way. But Trump was I'm saying in this one, I feel like Trump would not have wouldn't let them just run nilly-willy. He would be like, "Oh, I am taking over." I just feel that way because his ego is so big, but maybe he's got bigger things to worry about right now and he's not as concerned. If my theory is wrong and this is not a psyop, then he's just busy with his stuff I don't see him. I think they're running us in circles. I think they know where Nancy is. Maybe not the local authorities, but I think the government does. Does anyone else believe the son-in-law is in Italy? I have heard he went to visit family and go, oh, he's traveling? Well, then. What picture? Yeah, Trump doesn't have the authority to do a lot of stuff that he does. So. Okay, so let's get back into this.
A little data, right? It is an interesting topic for discussion, and it's a fair topic for discussion because sometimes that can happen. Sometimes you can be so focused, and one of my guests previously said that it's confirmation bias, and then you just get all your evidence to confirm what you think instead of widening the aperture. But I am fascinated to see that the sheriff is admitting that they put the family through the ringer early on, admitting towed the car, admitting seized the house, admitting seized the phones. We hadn't heard that before, seized the phones. Very interesting. The sheriff is just sort of letting these dribs and drabs out, where before he would just say, I'm not confirming that. I'm not confirming that. I wonder when we're going to hear that maybe the Nest camera was smashed, because that's something that my source also reported to me, that the Nest cameras, plural, were smashed. And Michael Ruiz from Fox said that he saw shards of glass below the...
We know who her source is. I wonder who her source is. So I just wanted to point out there about the Mexico, and that now they're finally starting to move it towards the Mexico direction. And do you think Nancy's going to be found over in Mexico? Here, Megyn Kelly's talking about signs that the Nancy Guthrie disappearance was not a real kidnapping with a former hostage negotiator.
Some notes are from Nancy's captor or captors. There's no other explanation for the 3 Instagram videos from Savannah's account where the siblings ask for further communication about how to get their mother home. To help us analyze all this, we wanted to bring in a seasoned hostage negotiator, and it's hard to find someone with more experience than our next guest. Commander Daniel O'Shea is a retired Navy SEAL who served as the coordinator of the hostage working group for the U.S. Embassy in Iraq from 2004 to 2006. O'Shea managed more than 400 hostage incidents in his time in Iraq, and by the time he left, kidnappings had dropped to the single digits. Dan, welcome to the show.
It's my pleasure and honor to be here, Megan.
Okay, so we're going to play it one more time, the latest video, and get your take on what, if anything, you think has changed here. Here it is. This was released on Saturday night.
We received your message.
Yeah, but you don't understand. I don't trust Trump. Nothing he says is true. He doesn't follow rules. I do not believe that he doesn't have his stupid, greedy little paws in this. I think this is a psyop. And I don't care what Trump says. Trump says a lot. And look at the state of the world.
And we understand. We beg you now to return our mother to us so that we can celebrate with her. This is the only way we will have peace. This is very valuable to us, and we will pay.
What do you make of it, Dan?
It's heartbreaking. I saw hundreds of these pleas from families from all over the world.
Sorry, I've got a lot of passion behind my words today, and it's something that I need to work on. But yeah, sorry, that was a lot of heat behind those words.
To try and bring their loved one home that was taken hostage by the likes of Al Qaeda and other jihadist groups in Iraq. So it's troubling because it's the pain and anguish of not knowing, and it brings back a lot of flashback of a lot of memories. But you can never give up hope. We had cases where there was a deadline set. Presumably, we know this group harmed Miss Guthrie in the initial abduction because there was blood left at the scene, and we only know what blood was left outside. We don't know anything about what's been done forensically inside the house. So that's my biggest concern, is that the propensity for violence from the get-go is why everyone should be very concerned, and not so much because of the deadline, but because that the group's doing this has already shown they're willing to be violent with an 84-year-old woman, grandmother as well.
So, I mean, one of the big questions here is, are the people torturing the family with these notes the same people that have or hurt Nancy Guthrie 8.5 days ago? I was saying to Brian Enton in the first segment, Dan, I just have a really hard time believing the people writing these notes were involved in Nancy's kidnapping or whatever happened to her. Because I was saying that if I had Nancy Guthrie, if I went to the trouble to kidnap somebody and then wanted to prove to somebody that I had her, I would not be referencing some damaged floodlight or where her Apple Watch was in her home. That's bullshit. That's the kind of stuff you manage to see through a window. And to me, it sounds like you're trying to sound like you know more than you do. If you've got Nancy, you can ask her anything that would prove to her 3 children who know her better than anybody that you actually have her. You don't have to do a picture. You don't need a video. Right. You just need her to tell you things only the children and the mother would remember from their childhoods.
100%. And that's, you're not a H&R, a K&R background or hostage negotiator, but I had that suspicion literally from almost day one when the first ransom note came out. First off, they sent the ransom note to TMZ, a tabloid network, and then the local news media. All right. That's not how K&R kidnap for ransom works. If kidnapping is a business around the world, and the groups that do the kidnapping, they have the prize. They grab the prize, and they want to keep that prize protected, and they want to demonstrate to the prospective buyer or payer that we have who you're looking for. Let's start the negotiation, and you come out with a large number. That 4 million initial to 6 million, the latest ransom demand, that's not outside the norm range for an American, because that's this is a big business, and because obviously Savannah Guthrie, big news network, morning show host. She's going to have the resources to probably come up with that kind of money, and that's what they're counting on. But then you've got to negotiate in good faith. And from no way, shape, or form has the group that is claiming to hold her been operating in good faith. And the fact that they haven't been able to provide a substantial proof of life, or even trying to submit some AI version of it, which could have been, suspect that they're trying to do this. But I am suspect that the group that has her is the group that took her responsibility.
It's also suspect that they keep sending them to TMZ of all places.
For abduction is the group that is sending these messages. They may be related, but I really think this is part of the show and drama to drive up this news media story. And why is that happening? Let's go to the underlying motives. And the motives may not be money. And I don't think it's money they want here. I think they want the news media attention, focus on this case, and maybe get some other news stories off the net. And then go, why did they target?
Yeah. Did you hear that? Let me just take that back a second.
Case to maybe get some other news stories off the net. And then go, why did they target, Savannah Guthrie? And you have to look at, well, she's not a controversial figure like yourself, or say Candace Owen, where you have people on the left or right. I mean, just being honest, that
Yeah,
you've got
you're right.
enemies. You've got people that don't like you. But, Savannah Guthrie is, I don't watch her morning show, but I know who she is. And she's like a very nice lady. And, what's the most controversial thing she's ever done? Maybe some of her interviews in the past.
Well, I mean, she's not controversial, but that doesn't rule out some freak stalker who just interpreted some report she did as an attack or as some sort of, that element is still alive and well around her. And we can't rule that out, that it's some stranger who's obsessed with her.
Oh, of course. But then why are you going after the mother unless you're trying to hurt her? So who has a reason to want to hurt Savannah Guthrie? Wouldn't it be the list would not be long, but go to some of her interviews. And I'm not the one coming up with this, because this conversation I've had, with virtually everyone I've talked to, especially offline, when you don't have a 2-minute segment on a news channel. She interviewed a lot of the Epstein victims, in-depth interviews with Virginia Giuffre and some of the other women. And what came out a week before this abduction, days before, the Epstein files, all over the news, and now what has taken over the news media. And maybe that was done intentionally. I'm not saying that's the case, but there's more to this.
I'm saying that's the case. And over here, there's some fact checking because Guthrie, I think her husband was in the files. So after Nancy Guthrie's February 1st abduction from Arizona home, her daughter today, host Savannah Guthrie, put out a call on social media for tips on her mother's whereabouts. Her husband's company is listed as a co-conspirator in the Epstein files. FGS Global reads a Facebook X post with over 1 million views. In case you're wondering why now all times for Savannah Guthrie's mother to be kidnapped. This over here, this person was Nancy Guthrie's abduction story a lie.
To look at this from a psychological assessment perspective, and that's often how I look at things as a clinical psychologist. When you are trained in clinical psychology, you learn psychological testing and you learn really comprehensive assessment skills. And one of the things that you look at is thinking, the type of thinking one engages in.
Hi, Amber. No, I haven't. There's a book out there that Savannah, so Into the Weeds podcast says, I'm way behind, but did you see the book that Savannah wrote about her childhood and them pretending to kidnap each other? No. And see, that's another weirdness. She's reading Silence of the Lambs. She has a book where they were pretending. Did we ever play Pretend to Kidnap? I mean, I played House a lot. I played Office. Kidnap? Maybe some Cowboys and Indians, but I don't think we ever played Kidnap. Of course, this reporter who was bleeding from everywhere will not bring up Guthrie interview with Virginia Guthrie. Don't know. I'm lost about that. Yes, go over and check out Into the Weeds podcast. She has a lot of great stuff. And Amy Boston too. Amy and I are working on a Epstein live this weekend.
And one of the reasons why I think this Nancy Guthrie case has caused such an extreme emotional reaction in people is because of how confusing it is. And part of why that is related to the ransom notes. Now, the first ransom note that was received, it was received reportedly at the end of the second day after she had been reported missing. So she was first reported missing on a Sunday in the morning. And then later, the following day, and not just on the second day that she was reported missing, but at the end of the second day reported missing. For abductions, that is a significant delay in terms of communicating, sending that ransom note. Now, with this particular case, there seems to be so much confusion in the very beginning about what reports were confirmed and what reports were not. And so that just added to a lot of confusion. But the public's takeaway from a lot of the communications from the sheriff's department originally were that this is a woman who needs daily medication and that it was not clear that the medications were taken with her. It was not clear that she actually had these medications. Now, here's the part that's important psychologically. When we think about this from an assessment perspective psychologically, and we look at the thinking, if you take a person who engages in clear, cohesive thinking, clinically, what we would call that is rational thinking, goal-directed thinking, thinking that is linear and cohesive, okay? When we think about that individual going to abduct an individual who is 84 years old, clear, goal-directed thinking would say, if the motivation is for money, if there is a mercenary motivation and we want to keep this individual alive, again, a person with goal-directed thinking would look around the environment and would imagine, because most individuals at 84 are taking some types of medications, would simply go to a medicine cabinet in the bathroom and just clear it out and throw things in a bag if there's limited time. They may take articles of clothing to keep that person comfortable. Again, clear, goal-directed thinking would want to send the message to those who would later discover that she's missing, that care was taken to help meet this individual's needs. Again, all in the purpose of keeping her alive, okay? Now, we don't know, of course, many details about this case. Law enforcement always has to keep critical details private for obvious reasons. But the public's reaction to this, and what I think is the public's anxiety about this, yes, on the one hand, there are people that are frustrated by the sort of wall-to-wall media coverage about this, noting that there are so many missing children, for example, who don't get half the media attention. Actually, scratch that, not half, not even a fraction of the media percentage. And that is a valid frustration. But there are a lot of other people that, because of the nature of this case, an 84-year-old woman, this is triggering a lot of anxiety for elderly individuals, especially elderly individuals who live alone. And this is also triggering a lot of anxiety and panic to some extent, I think, for their children's generation.
It's triggering a lot of anxiety, and it's also making them keep their attention on this because it's very triggering. And we're already, everybody, whether you realize it or not, you're triggered. You know, like if you're in the United States, especially, you're triggered. You're triggered even if you're trying to pretend like it ain't happening. Things are changing. Things are like different here. I've noticed like restaurants and stores are starting to run out of shit. That, you know, like no more 24 hours openings of stuff. Things are slowly changing here, and that's how they'll get us. Is it'll slowly change, and you'll slowly adapt to the changes.
Thinking and worrying about their parents, picturing having the empathy if that were to happen to their parent, how they would feel. And so a lot of the world that is watching this really on some level wants the relief to know what happened here, really ideally wanted her to come home safe so that they could sort of appease their own real world anxieties about what this would mean if this happened to them. Picturing this, if this happened.
I think everybody is rethinking leaving their elderly mother alone in a house, even though you got cameras where you can watch them, right? Maybe a lot of people are rethinking that. And maybe a lot of people are rethinking Western society telling us to kick our kids out at 18. Maybe they're rethinking that living in a family unit is more healthy than all these people living alone out in the world and lonely. And, you know, maybe people need to start rethinking a lot of things. But let's keep going. Here we have, let's bring it home with all of what I've said, and let's finally move over to Chase Hughes. I don't know if you guys remember who Chase is, but this is Chase. He's part of the behavioral panel. Everything that we view, I will put in the YouTube show notes. We do this to cite our sources and for fair use. But this is Chase, and he has made a dramatic change, in my opinion, in the last like 2 or 3 years. He was diagnosed with a dramatic brain injury, and I think I kind of related to him because I have my own brain injury. I had a stroke, like I think it's been 4 or 5 years now. And so I'm always very interested in brain stuff. And so he has really started talking about brain activity, but he also talks about, I think he was, what is his, learn NCI to take control of, I think it used to be, though, he used to have his bio here, but he was with the CIA or something like that. So, and he used to train them, one of the two. So he knows all the stuff that the government's doing to us. And I want to take a look at some of his content and show you how this is possible, that what's happening in the Nancy Guthrie case. Okay. But let me see what you guys are saying really quick. Let me come over into chat and talk with you guys really quick before we go on to this next portion of the live. The reporter referenced Megyn Kelly is in lockstep with FDT. I don't know what that means, Bethy Boop. Sorry. Amy, I just sent what I was talking about with timestamp. Is this the interview? Because let's do that one before we go into Chase's. If that's what it is. Oops. I don't think the timestamp worked. Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. Oh, I like this guy.
That sheriff does business out there. And then I want to play for you guys the video that I was talking about where the African-American media guy or whoever he was yanked the sheriff away from a interview because he was doing a terrible job. Let's keep going.
Like you could if you were researching your own family.
Wow, really interesting. Cece, I appreciate you explaining it to me. Thank you for taking the time. I appreciate Cece for taking the time to talk to me and explaining some of this DNA stuff to me, because it can be this is where things get really complicated and scientific. But as you heard her say, this is also when cases come together and we're starting to see DNA evidence really appear in this Nancy Guthrie case. So hopefully this will help move things along. I also want you to hear my interview that I just did with Sergeant Aaron Cross, who is a Pima County Sheriff's Office sergeant. And I've made a lot of sources on the ground here, but I
like what Brian's doing. I thought it was really interesting. I saw over on Jay for Justice that the mainstream media is freaking out over JLR's coverage, lost revenue. Why do you think the mainstream media is freaking out about his coverage? Because I appreciate it. I like the boots on the ground. I feel like they're freaking out because maybe they're seeing that like common everyday folk can do what they're doing. Maybe you don't have to go, maybe everyday folk is doing what you're doing. And is it lost revenue?
This other guy, I think that we have to make a movement out of this. Look at this horse shit. Inside Edition, 27 minutes ago. 27 minutes ago. It says authorities, look at this bullshit. Authorities want YouTube streamers outside Guthrie home to go home, to leave. To leave. That's why I think we should go.
Cops say they've had it with the army of YouTube streamers camped out.
They haven't had it with the news reporters. Why is it the YouTube streamers?
Out in front of Nancy Guthrie's home.
Now we're here at Nancy's home to try to just get some information.
True crime influencers from across the nation have descended on Tucson, streaming for hours on end.
Now there is a person that they did spot with a backpack going through someone's gate.
Any snippet of information becomes major breaking news streamed live.
We heard the guy go in, but when he was coming out, he said, I got it. I got it. Don't know what that is.
Jimmy Williams sits in a lawn chair streaming around the clock. In this live stream, he teases shocking chaos at the Guthrie house. So
I can't stand the way she said streaming. Streaming? He sits in a lawn chair without shoes on. Streaming? What the heck?
Don't know what that is.
Jimmy Williams sits in a lawn chair streaming around the clock. In this live stream, he teases shocking chaos at the Guthrie house. So what was the chaos? He got in an argument with Nancy Guthrie's neighbor over where he parked his car.
The only action that's been out here is when the lady called the police on me.
Distractions like that, standing out here in the parking lot and screaming how bad the sheriff is, how does that help this investigation move forward?
Oh, they're screaming that they're saying how bad the sheriff is. Well, he no like that. He no likey that, guys. you don't, he's not used to that. He's not used to that. He's not used to the new social media day and age, I don't think.
Damian Enderle says his audience is hungry for coverage of the case and blames a lack of information from law enforcement for the surge in conspiracy theories.
Right now, it's kind of spiraled in so many directions, and the sheriff has not had a press conference.
They're actually doing more harm than good right now.
Arizona State Legislator Alma Hernandez has a blunt message for the streamers.
At the end of the day, if they really truly want to be helpful, they should probably go home.
Sloppy influencers and would-be sleuths.
Chris Cuomo is also slamming the streamers.
Well, also at the end of the day, our government shouldn't be eating babies, right? So are we now supposed to just trust you and go home and just be like, okay, we trust you. We trust you. You wouldn't be doing anything underhanded. Nah. You're eating babies, but whatever. I mean, I'm sorry, guys. That's my bar these days. Are you eating babies? No? Okay, I think you're doing okay.
And podcasters, he really went after Megyn Kelly for focusing a lot of attention on Savannah Guthrie's brother-in-law, who has been cleared of any suspicion in the case.
She doesn't know a damn thing.
Kelly is hitting back.
Nobody watches his show on News Nation, and I mean nobody. And therefore, he gets upset at anybody who does well, like our show, and he gets jealous.
So what say you guys about that? Do you think the boots on the ground is fine, or do you think they're getting in the way?
It's difficult talking to people within the department on camera because they can get in big trouble for speaking. What's interesting about Sergeant Cross is he is also the union president, so he has protections and can speak more freely. He's not on the inside of the Nancy Guthrie investigation at all. So he can't speak about what's happening from the inside of the investigation, but he has a ton of expertise when it comes to this area. He's been with the
I mean, at least Lauren will go there and misreport and, wonder why there's a bunch of cars in a funeral parking lot. I mean, at least Lauren will do that.
Office for almost 20 years. And he also is able to talk about and openly, which is difficult here because people are nervous to talk badly about the sheriff who are still working there. But he can talk about concerns that the deputies have about the sheriff, about the way the investigation has been handled, and why he thinks the FBI should have been brought in sooner. So listen to my conversation with Sergeant Cross. The first thing I wanted to ask you about was just this new FBI statement that I showed you. First of all, apparently there's a lot of gloves that have been found.
Yeah.
What do you make of that? I mean, I guess these gloves are used for all sorts of purposes, it seems.
It is pretty common. It could be from investigators. It could also be, we have a large amount of homeless that live and camp in the area. We also have, we've experienced a lot of nighttime car break-ins in this area as well. So, it could be from any one of those things. Hopefully it's related to the Guthrie kidnapping or incident, and they're able to get some DNA out of it, and it breaks the case open. But I understand it was found a couple miles away. Hopefully, as he's driving away, he throws his gloves out the window. Maybe we'll get a lucky break. But there's a lot of possibilities.
It just seems like that would be a dumb thing to do, though. I mean, if you're the suspect, why wouldn't you bury them or hold on to them?
I just want to preface this because somebody's asking a good question. If you're new to true crime, Brian Enton is a legit reporter. He's been in the game for quite a while, and he's on major platforms like News Nation, etc. But he also has his own platform. So this interview is being done on his platform. But he's also a actual legit reporter on some major news organizations. So just want to throw that out there. Okay, let's keep going.
Yeah, it seems very unusual. He seemed to be very prepared and very careful, at least on the video that was released, and so it would seem very out of character for what we're able to see. But hopefully we'll get lucky.
And you are a sergeant with the Pima County Sheriff's Office and
Yes,
also
sir.
the union president.
Yes, sir.
So you're able to talk to us about some of these issues with the department because you're protected.
Correct.
By which is why we haven't really been able to talk to anyone else within the.
Yeah, I can speak on matters of public concern and have some protections from that.
Do you ever get nervous about retaliation?
Oh, all the time. I'm sure I'll be drugged in to answer questions about this very interview.
Okay. What is since you have your pulse, I mean, how many deputies did you say are in your union?
So we have a little over 300 out of the about 396 detectives and deputies in the department.
So almost everybody.
Yes, sir.
So what is the feeling right now within the department? I mean, you guys have the eyes of the world on you.
Yeah, it's tough. The deputies, they haven't been impacted as much. The detectives, though, they're working, I mean, some of them are working 8 days straight. Some of them have put in 70, 80-hour weeks for the last couple of weeks. So they're doing everything possible to try and solve this crime. They're working very hard, sacrificing a lot of time with their families, and they're doing everything they can. But it's definitely taken a toll a little bit. You can tell when you speak with them. There's a little bit of burnout. I get that sense. They haven't vocalized that to me, but you can tell it's been a lot. And working 80 hours a week, 70 hours a week, that's a tall order.
And a lot of pressure. I mean, everybody wants to find Nancy,
Certainly, yeah. The whole, it feels like the whole world, or at least the nation.
I can attest to this. Like you do go through a lot of stress when you're working these long hours on these investigations. But then it's also like an urgency, bro. It's like something is pushing you. I can't speak for these investigators. I can speak for myself and my team and the people I work with, because I work with them and I'm there with them. Some of the times if it happens on my team, and it's almost something that's pushing you, something spiritual is pushing you to keep going because you know what's at stake. And so, yeah, it's very stressful to work these long hours, but you understand that you're having a bad week and somebody's having the worst moment of their life. So that's the motivator. Like this, you say in the back of your head, this too shall pass. But for this other person, it will not. It will be there with them forever. Let's keep going.
That their eyes are on us. And so there's a lot of pressure internally as well as externally to try and solve this quickly.
Is it true, and I just heard this from some people around the sheriff's office, that the homicide team is pretty inexperienced right now?
They're pretty new. And that goes for really all the departments. So we have 96 detectives. 45 of them are detective ones, meaning they're pretty new. Inside the unit, I think the person that has the most experience inside that unit has 3 years in homicide.
3 years? How do you have 45 detectives and the most experience is 3 years?
Does he go in and tell us why? Because my first question would be, why? How? What happened?
That's insane. Like, that's my next stop. I'm putting that out there to the universe. I'm trying to get into homicide. And when Strategics wants something, he gets it. Because I'm a go-getter. So, who knows? I just feel like it's either I'm on the list to be a supervisor. If God lets them call me, then I'm there. It's two ways. It's either I'm going to homicide or I'm going to be a boss. Either or, okay? We throwing that out there in the universe. And even me, with all my experience, I'm like, damn, it's going to be hard to get into homicide because it's so hard to get into homicide. It's so hard to get into homicide.
Think about that. I mean, they have been officers up until that point, so it's not like they've only been officers for 3 years, or they've just been homicide for 3 years, but still.
Like 3 years? That's their most senior guy? That's insane.
And then some of them are more experienced.
They only get 5 homicides a year there. And your most experienced guy is 3 years. That means that 3 years is nothing. Let's keep going.
Detectives, they just haven't been in homicide. So there's been a lot of turnover. Another example is that our deputies, we have 195 deputies in patrol. 101 are on probation, meaning they have less than a year. We've experienced several waves of exodus of deputies going to other agencies or retiring early to go work.
Exodus.
195?
Several waves of exodus. But that doesn't tell me if they were fired or if they, like, the working conditions are so bad that they all did a mass exodus.
Deputies on patrol and only 95 of them are not on patrol, are not on probation. What, did they just start the sheriff's department last year? No wonder this case has been bungled. Oh my God. Oof.
Oh my God.
They've all left because you guys got Thanos as your sheriff's department. What is wrong with us as Americans? Why do we vote in a-holes to be our leaders? Why?
I don't know, but here we are.
Vote in this 4'11" Napoleon complex idiot to be your sheriff, ladies and gentlemen. Why, Pima County?
There was a mass exodus.
You got to listen to the people with boots on the ground. If your sheriff's deputies are telling you this guy is not working for, why would you keep bringing him into power? Your sheriff deputies are telling you this guy's a bumbling idiot, but yet you still vote him into power. Make it make sense.
It doesn't make sense. The only way that it makes sense is we are living in the upside down or we were always in makes no sense at all. But getting back, the sense that I'm making of it is I truly believe that this is a psyop of sorts. In the beginning, first part of the live, we talked about the weird strangeness in the Nancy Guthrie case. And now I want to go over to Chase Hughes. We introduced him. He talks about this type of stuff. And in this video, he has every psyop will become obvious. So let's take a look at this. Oops. I'm going to keep it down low for a second because of the music.
psyop. Let's do this. So the first thing you need to know is following the FATE model: focus, authority, tribe, and emotion. This is what triggers the mammalian part of our brain that makes all of our real decisions. The first part is focus. Psyops always aim to hijack your attention with repetition, shocking visuals of fear-inducing scenarios. Some examples are like 24/7 media coverage of a crisis or constant repetition of terms like unprecedented. So with this, pause and ask, why is this message being pushed so aggressively? So compare how much airtime.
So why is the Savannah Guthrie, I keep saying Savannah, but I know it's Nancy Guthrie kidnapping being focused on so heavily right in the middle of like our country's biggest turmoil? Why?
Different stories are receiving, and note any disproportionate focus. The second part here is authority. Trusted figures might shift their tone or positions unnaturally to support the narrative. So we've got this fire chief, this police officer saying one thing, and then when the story is shifting, then he shifts his narrative to change what he said. He walks it back and says, no, I didn't say they were cleared. I just said something about they're just not suspects, right? So watch very closely for expert panelists or endorsements where authority figures might speak outside of their expertise. Pay close attention to that one. Then we have tribe. So messages that polarize opinions or create stark in groups versus out groups or exploit our tribal instincts. For example, labeling groups as patriots versus traitors or scientific versus deniers. Be very careful when you hear that language. Finally, we have emotion. So be wary of any communication that triggers strong emotions like fear, hope, or outrage without any clear, verifiable evidence. So emotional responses suppress critical thinking. Emotional responses suppress critical thinking. So as a tip,
they want us to stay in a state of emotions so that we don't go into our critical thinkings. They want us keep us like Chicken Little, running around. Oh no, the sky is falling down, instead of getting into like, okay, so what do we do about it? They don't want us to get to the organization part of it. What are we gonna effing do about this part? They want to keep us in our feelings and our emotions.
Here, analyze the evidence that's presented to you. If facts are replaced by appeals to emotion, you need to be very, very cautious. As an example of this, think about like a news channel repeatedly showing images of empty grocery shelves and panicked shoppers during a food supply scare. It dominates every broadcast and it pushes people into fear-driven behavior. Next, question novelty. Our brains are wired to focus on sudden or unusual changes because they signal potential threats or opportunities. And this is an evolutionary survival mechanism. Psyops exploit this by creating events that break normal expectations, like unexpected crises or dramatic revelations. So,
like a kidnapping of an 80-some-year-old woman, unexpected, yeah.
Ask yourself, why is this new? So consider if the event or somebody's message
is this new. We at the very beginning, this is very rare. It's very rare to have an adult woman of this age kidnapped. This is new and this is very rare.
Has been artificially manufactured or timed. Look for patterns like sudden shifts in public opinion.
The timing is perfect. He's saying look for the time. The timing of the Epstein files and the ICE unalivings and them closing off our borders, so we're not paying attention. We're all focused on the Nancy Guthrie case. Did you guys know that they're moving to the borders of the United States, that they're moving up along Canada? Did you know that? Did you know that stuff about what I mentioned about the passports? Did you guys know all of that?
Trending hashtag that are unusual or viral videos that seem very coincidental. So for this one, just picture a new viral video just claims to expose a government cover-up, but it conveniently comes out the exact same day that there's some damaging evidence against some high-ranking official.
Today I am yelling into the mic. I'm sorry. If you don't like it, you can leave. I am outraged, and yeah, I'm yelling into the mic. And if you don't like it, I'm sure there's another person talking calmly into the mic for you.
The timing shifts public focus. All of this is part of the NCI system I developed for teaching tradecraft and extreme psychological operations. And there's even a gigantic textbook for all of this stuff in the description. Definitely not for everybody, but it's definitely the most comprehensive guide in the world on this stuff. So next item, look for multiple
links to everything that you view down in the YouTube show notes. This is a commentary channel. If I don't do this, they will take down my video. I'm sorry you don't like the yelling, but I talk over the video. I stop and start it, but I tell you everywhere where I put the show notes. If you're interested and you only want to hear Chase Hughes talk, then go to his video.
Multiple sources. Centralized narratives create an echo chamber, and they silence dissent and they narrow perspectives. For example, if all media outlets present identical talking points, it is a humongous red flag. So actively seek out contrarian or independent voices, even if they challenge something that's already in your head. In reality, an example, during a maybe breaking health crisis, all the major news outlets report on the exact same study, but independent researchers revealed the study was funded by a company selling the solution. So watch for that group speak. Next is identify cognitive dissonance weapons. Let's talk about how this works. So cognitive dissonance comes up when new information clashes with our identity or our beliefs. So psyops exploit the hell out of this by including micro agreements. Micro agreements are little, small, seemingly harmless concessions to shape your identity. And over time, you're going to unconsciously align your behavior to reduce that internal conflict. And as a weaponization example of this, a psyop might present you as a part of moral or intelligent enlightenment, like only good citizens do XYZ. If you disagree with that, you risk some identity conflict there. So,
I mean, I feel like we're getting into a little bit of that when they're telling the boots on the ground people to go home, right? It's getting a little into that.
Reflect on your identity and ask, am I being nudged to identify with some other group? So be very careful.
Let us just do our work and go home.
Any campaigns that are asking for seemingly minor commitments there, like signing petitions, changing your profile picture that evolved into some bigger compliance or demand later. As an example of this, let's say a company launches an ad campaign and they claim real patriots buy local. If you disagree with their product, it feels like rejecting your identity as a patriot. So this pushes you to conform. Be very, very skeptical about those identity statements. Next is looking for those emotional scripts. And what I mean by this is the scripts that were written in our brains by our ancestors. So manipulated narratives trigger instincts like the fear of loss or scarcity, social rejection, or danger. For example, a media story about food shortages might activate survival scripts that cause panic buying and stuff like that. And we have scarcity fear. This is sudden warnings about.
I mean, we saw that happening with COVID when they sold out the store shelves of the toilet paper, right?
Resources like water or medicine also spark.
Let's move forward. I don't think that one's happening so much in this case.
Next is follow the money. So there's a trail.
I think this one is really happening in the case because we've got the media complaining about the media that's doing boots on the ground, trying to make the money on their own. And there's a loss of revenue for stations and the reporters. So this is really happening.
Of beneficiaries here. So identifying who benefits always is going to reveal the motive. So look for funding sources like sponsorships or political connections that are tied to the narrative. So use tools like opensecrets.org or public financial records to see who profits from this. So for policies or campaigns, identify the industries.
And Lauren and John really have not been covering it so much. Well, John, not at all, right?
Like pharmaceuticals, tech companies, etc., that stand to gain the most. So to illustrate this in your mind right now, picture a charity that's promoting clean energy awareness, and they seem noble until an investigations are showing that it's funded by a solar panel corporation that's lobbying for subsidies or something like that. Next, and this one is very important, is analyze the context boundary. The mechanism here is context, and context defines what is permissible. So manipulative people shift contexts to normalize extreme behavior. As an example of this, in emergencies, people accept surveillance or martial law that they normally would completely resist.
Is this another way of us to be okay with doing a little more martial law? Like, we need to be protected from the border now, which it's really strange because they haven't, I know they're trying to get us onto a new world order where we're all on digital type of like, what is it called? I cannot think of the name of it, where it's not a driver's license or a passport, but all our stuff is in one place where you can just go, like our medical records, our driver's license, all of our home stuff, is in one place. They're calling it a new world order, but I forget the name of it. Is this a way that they're going to try to make us feel like we're safer if we do that?
What is the context? Compare some similar events in different settings to see if the rules or responses seem disproportionate. Look for contradictions. So for lots of the students who are brand new to NCI University, this right here is the most massive realization.
I didn't know that they were being filmed. That is so weird. That is so weird.
When they realize that the ability to weaponize cognitive dissonance and then shift the context can get anyone to do almost anything. As a hypothetical example of this, let's say there's a major cyber attack. The governments are now justifying some sweeping surveillance laws to protect the citizens. This changes the context to make previously unacceptable actions seem absolutely necessary. Next, spot the use of archetypes because they're woven into our brains. Psyops simplify narratives by using archetypes like heroes and villains and saviors. Some examples are like portraying one leader as the sole solution or demonizing dissenters as the enemy. Deconstruct the story. Ask who are the characters and what roles are they playing. Simplistic, like good versus evil stories usually signal manipulation just about every time. So always seek nuance there. In the real world, you're going to see something like maybe a leader is repeatedly portrayed as a savior fighting something that's pure evil, and the narrative ignores their mistakes and oversimplifies the conflict to prevent a lot of scrutiny. Next, evaluate the frame. So let's do a step-by-step evaluation here. First one is expectation. What are you expected to believe or do based on this thing that you're exposed to in the media? Next,
they're expecting us just to sit back. Because back in the day, that's what we did. You just sat back and you let the government and the media, who we've seen is connected to the government, handle it. But now there's the boots on the ground people out there, and they're not really liking that. So we're not following their expectation right off the bat.
Is belief. What assumptions are being made about you, like your values or your fears? Then we have perception. So how is reality being shaped, like selective facts or missing contexts? And definition is
we're getting so many selective facts and missing context and backtracking and fitting the story to meet the narrative and vice versa.
Final step here when it comes to a frame. What truth is being asserted as something that's completely unchallengeable? This comes up with information suppression. So really look for topics that are being avoided, critics that are being silenced. If somebody needs to be silenced in order for an idea to make it, then the idea is not good. So alternative viewpoints being discredited, that's a big one to look out for. So
It's a huge one to look out for. And here I am sitting here talking about it. And I've got somebody in my chat saying, talk about the Nancy Guthrie case. Don't talk about this stuff. And it's just like, yeah, don't talk about the stuff behind the curtain. Don't talk about the wizard. Just talk about the stuff that they're using to distract us. Do that. Well, you go do that.
Check timelines of events and notice if critics are labeled conspiracists or if algorithms are suppressing some kind of specific search. And this is a big one, especially in today's time. So to get a good example of this, during maybe a corporate scandal, the company's PR team frames these critics as disgruntled employees with a grudge. So this shifts the focus away from
one algorithm search that's being held back. I have to literally go out and search for it, is the stuff that's happening in ICE. That just doesn't pop up in my algorithm. It will if I look at it like for a day, but if I stop looking, if I don't go out and seek it, it will go away. It will go away. But the Nancy Guthrie stuff, it's just right there in your face. It's right there.
The legitimate concerns to the motives of the critics. And it does it almost without us realizing that that's happening in our brain. So next, be alert to rapid compliance shifts. This one is scary and it's happening every day. PSYOPs create urgency to drive rapid compliance. And these tactics are stuff like emotional.
And we heard earlier about how all the senior citizens and the senior citizens with the younger kids, they're worried, they're terrified. They'll go into compliance to keep their family safe, right? Because like, how many of Western America live with their parents in an older age? It's not very many. They're probably off living alone or in a home or some, a lot of people will do anything to stay safe, which is not keeping you safe in the long run.
Staged group behaviors or false consensus. For this, it's really important to slow down and resist the pressure to act, to question the conformity as much as possible, and test the message, engaging the skeptics there. So in the real world, this might look like maybe a viral social media challenge urges all these users to adopt this brand new symbol or profile picture or hashtag kind of overnight, and it creates a wave of compliance. So later, this is kind of like a foot in the door technique. It's tied to some divisive political agenda. Next, study the timing of the events. And this one's huge, especially right now. Timing is everything. Ask yourself.
I think this is the big one. This is the big one that tips me off to it, the timing of this event.
Why is this happening now? So why
is it going on so long?
Events or scandals might this thing be distracting everybody from? So look for very coincidental timing with unrelated major news stories or political movements.
And I just think this one is the biggie. That's the timing is just everything here. And I think we really need to be mindful of that. I think that's all I have for today. Let me just make sure I got it all in. I am working on an Epstein file live with, we're going to look at the Mormon church, because I did see that they're in the Epstein files and a few cults are in there. So I'm going to invite some of your favorite content creators, Amy Boston, and I'm going to reach out to Kresha and Into the Weeds and see if they want to do a live where we talk about the Epstein files and the Mormon church, and also do a little talking about hidden true crime. And I also have that live that I have ready to go regarding the Gypsy Rose Blanchard case and hidden true crime and the dangers of being a psychologist, a psych doctor, and still treating patients and being on the internet. So that's another thing that I am working on. We also have our highly strange days this Sunday. I haven't chosen a topic on that yet. Yeah, so we've got some fun things that we're working on. Some more live content creator mashups that I'm working on. If you have any suggestions, the email is running across the bottom of the screen. It's ParaWomenRadio@gmail.com. The women is plural. And yeah, just email me and maybe we'll do your show idea. Let me see what you guys are saying. Well, God is all knowing. God sees all. God knows. I worked through him and only him. There's no expecting anything. If you know, you know. Well, also, Jesus wasn't above outrage. He flipped a few tables in his time. And I think what's happening is table flipping. And I'm at that level where I'm at. And I think we all need to get there, because we have a real chance to make some real change and to get some real darkness and to like burn the swamp. And I don't want people to go back to sleep, because it will be very easy to go back to sleep, because comfort is complacency. We're going to have to all get a little uncomfortable. Sir, let me tell you something you don't know. What's scary is God has this. Well, you know, God also works through us. You have to remember that too. So God always works through us. God is in us. They have programmed us to take the Christ consciousness out of us. And Jesus told us it's in us. It's inside of us. We are it. So I really believe that we need to get off our butt and start working. And if these are your words, then you need to be doing something. You need to be doing something. I'm really trying to filter. Okay, so Melania and Ghislaine outed as besties, and something just happened. I saw this morning. Melania's mail order bride thing got found on the Wayback When machine. So she was bought on this site that's a mail order bride site that is still going to this day. Her little ad came up. Yes, please support the show. We take Cash App. You can also do stars over on Facebook, over on YouTube. We have super stickers and all that good stuff. Yeah, I really have in covering the hidden true crime, I've always felt weary of the Mormon religion, and it always sort of reminded me of Scientology and other people. In saying that, I have found it reminds other people of that, and I just I don't know. I think it's cult. It's a cult, and I'm sorry if you're a Mormon and that offends you. I'm not saying it to offend you, but I do think it's a cult. You just found my channel. So good too. This is like a day where I've been outraged the whole time. So I don't usually yell the whole time, but I do yell. I do yell. I get outraged, but I usually don't stay in a level of outrage the whole time. But like I said, I'm in some kind of way. The Epstein files has me in a way that I have never felt in my life. I've never felt like this in my life, and I'm just trying to figure it out. And I'm just like really trying not to be that person like that jumps on people for not waking up or getting it as fast, because I think we're all slowly figuring it out, right? And a lot of us feel frozen. A lot of us are in denial. A lot of us just won't. I think I saw this breakdown. I always like breakdowns and charts, and this person said that, let me think, there's the 1% elite, and then there is 4% of us that are out here screaming about it and just outraged. And then there's 3% that are out there that are like the trolls that are making fun of the 4% and trying to negate what they're doing. And then the rest of the people are just asleep. They haven't woke up yet. And that feels just about right. It feels just about right. So I just think the rest of us need to wake up. And if we could band together, we could really do something. And that's my hope. I'm holding out for that. And I think the Nancy Guthrie thing is a psyop to distract us. I do think she was. I'm not saying she wasn't kidnapped. I hope you don't think I'm saying that. But I feel like the government is doing this to keep us distracted, and we are distracted. I haven't been able to get into it because I'm so distracted about the Epstein files. But this would have been like something I would have been on all over. Pre-Epstein file stuff. So I just want you guys to be aware of it. And I want to step away from trying to have people have outcomes. I really am trying to disengage from what you believe and what you don't believe. I'm just trying to stand in my truth. But I really stand firmly in this, that I think something weird's going on. And I wanted to bring that information to you. And you guys can do with it what you will. Yeah, we're actually finding that organized religion is. But I do believe in God. And I believe in a higher power. And I believe that higher power is inside of us. So I'm going to head out. Tell me what you guys think about this. Are you feeling like Nancy Guthrie is just missing and they haven't found her yet? Do you think they're going to find her in Mexico? Please, do you think they're going to find her in Mexico? I don't know. I want to say I hope they find her not in Mexico, but I mean, if they find her, at least if they find her in Mexico, like at least they found her. But this is just something horrible. And strange. And out of the blue. And conveniently happening during the biggest world shakeup scandal of my time, your time, of the times. I can't think of a bigger one. And there's been a lot. But not in my time. Like I wondered, I have often thought, I wonder what exciting, like what truly exciting is going to happen. Because I was born during the Vietnam War, but I don't remember it because I was a child. Like I don't remember that. So I've often thought, like, what major world event? And I feel like this is it. This is the major world event. So, okay, guys, I'm gonna head out. Thank you so much, Kim, for coming in and moderating. Thanks, guys, for coming in and hanging out with me. If I yelled at you and took anything the wrong way, just know I'm a little out of sorts. I don't know when I'm going to get back into sorts either. But if you guys could give this live a thumbs up, if you guys could share it out into the algorithm for me, because I'm pretty sure this will be suppressed. And yeah, that would mean a lot to me. You think she's underground? Like the police, like the sheriff said, you think she's still in the town she lives in? I don't know what happened, but I do know it wasn't a burglary gone wrong. Yeah. Yeah, the Wayback Machine. I use it. I like it too. What a pretty video. What a pretty picture that is of you. I'm really into gold right now. Okay, guys, I'm going to head out. Thank you for being here. Thank you, Joyful Dolphin. Continue praying and doing your God work. It's much needed and appreciated in this day and age. Thank you. I love you right back. I'm going to be outraged for a while. I just am. I'm horrified. I'm horrified. I don't know how to get right with what is happening to the children. Yeah, I don't know how to get right with it. So, anyway, it's definitely something I will have to put in the hands of God, because, yeah, I want fire and brimstone. I want pain for those people. So anyway, I'm going to head out because I'm getting back onto the kids. All right, guys, I'm going to head out. Thank you so much for being here. If nobody's told you this today, and even if they have, I just don't care. I'm still going to tell you guys this because I feel like the world needs it. I love and appreciate you and care about you guys so much. And I'll see you all next time. Okay. Bye, guys.
Miss my cue, but I had you for that day. Here in the blue, I'm falling deep into you.
Be sure to give this live a thumbs up. Helps me go out into the algorithm party out there. Bring more people back to the party. It's just a free way to help me out.
And it feels fine, feels fine. Baby, I'm dancing with you tonight. Here in the blue, I'm dancing and falling out, hoping for some time with you.